Why would you do a pull-up? Like, what is
because when the tune is so fucking fire, you're just like, fuck off, play it again. Do it again. Play again. Nah, fuck off, wheel it, play again. And that whole concept of like just wheeling a tune.
Welcome to the Mr. Bill podcast. I'm Bill's manager, Anand Harsh. I'm also editor-in-chief of theunst.com. Bill's guest today is Reso, a legend in drum and bass, dubstep, and halftime. Most recently, he's been a fixture of the SLUG WIFE crew and put out some monster tunes with them. As you're hearing this episode today, he's actually got a 3-track liquid drum and bass EP out for Bandcamp Day. You can pick up the Cloudfall EP, and while you're doing that, maybe head over to mrbill.bandcamp.com to get some free goodies. Just a thought. Thanks to everyone supporting the show and keeping us going on our Patreon. You can get early access to episodes, bonus content. There's some exclusive merch options coming your way. And you get a nice warm feeling in your tummy every time you listen to the show. You can subscribe at patreon.com/MrBillsTunes. Finally, please head over to mrbillstunes.com to sign up to become a hardcore Abletoneer. You get full access to Bill's project files and tutorials, access to nearly 30 sample packs, and so much more. All right, here's Bill's chat with Reso.
Hey, you're listening to the Mr. Bill podcast.
Hey, you're listening to the Mr. Bill podcast.
Hey, you are listening to the Mr. Bill podcast.
Hey, you're 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 listening to the Mr. Bill podcast. Hey, you're listening to the Mr. Bill podcast.
Hey, you're listening to the Mr. Bill podcast.
Hey, you're listening to the
Okay, I think we're good.
sick?
Literally recording fucking everything.
That's awesome. I don't think anyone has gone to this degree yet with this podcast, including myself. I don't think
Man,
anyone...
I listen to a lot of podcasts, so I'm just like aware of like making like back up your backups.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
you get a lot of podcasts, right? Even on the professional level. Like I listened to a Sam Harris one yesterday, where he was talking to Tristan Harris, which is like the guy who was in that Social Dilemma documentary on Netflix recently. And
Okay, I haven't seen that yet.
super interesting. But I guess my point is that even on Sam Harris's level, like Tristan's audio, or I guess it's on Tristan's end, wasn't it, that his audio fucked out. So even on a podcast that big, they were using Zoom audio as a backup or Skype audio because
I've listened to enough podcasts where it's like, yeah, make sure you have more than one thing running. So I'm just like, cool, contingencies. 2 is 1, 1 is none.
nice. Yeah, I
All
appreciate
that
it.
shit. Yeah, man.
Speaking of the Social Dilemma, man, that was a good documentary. I suggest watching it. Basically, it was about how social media like Facebook, Google, Twitter, YouTube, all that stuff has kind of like rotted our minds, and it's all the algorithms have been so designed in such a way to persuade our behaviors and our thought processes. Like, for instance, with YouTube, right? If you go to YouTube and you watch a video about, I don't know, BMX biking accidents or something, right? Like YouTube will instantly throw another video at you about BMX biking accidents because the algorithm wants to be like, well, will you click again? Will you watch another one? And then
it's crazy. Like the lizard algorithms are just, it's running amok, and it's insane. I keep seeing things like sharing stuff with Cursor where it's like, you get served things from Wish, where it's like, oh, what about this? And it's trying to show you, and it's just like serving you up like such ridiculous stuff. Oh man, it's we're living in crazy times. It's hard.
Yeah, the other crazy thing that I took from that documentary and from the podcast I listened to preceding that was that everyone's reality online is completely different from everyone else's. Like, because of these algorithms, right? Like when you go on YouTube, or Facebook or Twitter or anything, you see a completely different thing to me.
Yeah,
Like
totally.
everything, all the advertising you're seeing, all the posts you're seeing, like everything. It's like, and because we spend so much time on our computers, that is a huge part of our reality, right? Like what is coming in through the devices.
Completely. I think it's weird. It's like the internet is a manifestation of like a global consciousness, and it's just there, and it's just everyone kind of it's literally all there if you can be bothered to try and kind of find it all. But it's just it boggles my mind. It's so much at the moment. Everything is so fucking fucked that I don't even know where to begin, kind of thing.
Yeah, well, let's start with meditation, I guess, because you said one of your coping mechanisms before we started recording was meditation. What kind of meditation are you doing? Are you following a guided app thing, or are you just sort of doing it on your own?
So I've kind of done meditation. I started like in my late teens, early 20s and stuff. So I kind of started doing like Vipassana, which is breath meditation. So it's like just breathing in and out and focusing on your breath and being still and being calm. And then I've done a bit of reading into like Zen and things like that, and just find it, it's really quite a helpful tool just to, we're all just bags of meat muddling through, and we're really trying our best to just not fuck everything up. And there comes a point where you just have to kind of start again, concentrate on your breath. And I find I just do that and just sit there and meditate and just let your thoughts kind of roll past you as sort of clouds in the sky kind of thing. It's all very bit hippie and whatever, but I find it helpful, especially at the moment. Like the world is collectively losing its shit right now, so who the fuck knows what's going on? And honestly, we just need to. It boils down to you have a love or fear response to any kind of situation, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
And
totally.
I'm desperately trying to sort of choose love. Like I've been going through some shit, like everyone's going through some shit. It's a very weird time right now, isn't it, in the world? So yeah, I
feel like only one every few generations get to experience a time like this, right? Like a couple of generations back, there was a Great Depression, and then a couple of generations before that, there was the Spanish flu, and then a couple of generations before that, there was
history repeats itself, and there's the concept of the illusion of history, which is like, oh, everything that's happened is already happened. It's like, no, we're living through history right now, but it's ongoing. And then there's a exponential curve of like how can I articulate this properly? There's a guy I like. Have you ever seen or watched or read a guy called Tim Urban on Wait But Why?
No.
I highly recommend checking out his stuff. So he talks about a lot of this stuff where it's like sort of pretty far out thinking ideas on like AI and things like that. So it's called Wait But Why, and his name is Tim Urban, and he would do stuff that is, talking about, for example, the first person to invent a human level AI is like, we've only got one shot at getting human intelligence AI, because the moment that happens, like there's only one shot at it. I'm completely fudging this.
But there's already, I think, some like machine learning AI stuff that is better than humans at some things, right? Like for instance, chess.
No, totally. Oh God, I need to, fucking Google it and stuff. Again,
I think
feel
I
like
know what you mean, though. It's like the AI that can do everything better than humans, including making its own.
An example he brings up is, say you make an AI that is designed to get better at doing handwriting, for example. And so you feed it examples of handwriting, and all it wants to do is just get better at doing like handwritten cards. And it ends up basically disassembling the entire universe and all matter just to get better at doing handwritten cards.
Sort of what you're trying to say is like you give it a task, and if anything is in its way of doing that task, it just destroys it to do the task
so
better.
what is the base?
So Elon Musk has had a good saying about this. He was saying, from the perspective of humans, we like to build shit, right? So if we want to build like a house or a structure of apartments or a new corporate building or something like that, and there's an anthill in the way, it's like we'll just knock that anthill over without even thinking about it. We'll just fucking dig that shit up and just lay a slab, like we don't care. We don't think about it being in our way so much. We just go like, oh, it's another anthill, fuck it, and we just like knock it over and build, right? And you can kind of think about AI in that way. Like we could just be an anthill for it trying to obtain its own objectives.
It's fucking crazy, man. Like there's so much. It's literally all there. Yeah, it's all out there.
But there is some things that AI is better at. Like I was saying, the chess example, for instance, and this was another thing that was actually in this Tristan Harris podcast with Sam Harris. He articulated this well, and I already knew this. But when chess beat Gary Kasparov, sorry, when Deep Mind or Deep Blue, whatever it was,
Deep Blue, Deep Thought, or
whatever it was, the IBM computer that beat Gary Kasparov at chess. It beat our best guy in chess, which means it just beat humanity at chess, right? Yeah. So it's like computers are better than humanity at chess. That's like one aspect in which computer AI is better than any human at this stage. And there's other things like that too. Like for instance, like social media algorithms, right? Like that's the thing that we'll never be as good at as AI because it's just so much data to go through, and computers are just good.
I honestly think like we're guinea pigs at the moment, and I think give it like 10, 15 years, I think social media is going to be classed as being an evil thing. How gambling is addictive, and it's out there for everyone to see. That it's like they're telling you, and they're using these things that make you want to get like sucked in and trying to marshal my fucking thoughts, but
I know what you mean. Like when cigarettes first came about, not when they first came about, but like at some point people thought cigarettes were like actually good for you. They thought they cured asthma and stuff like that. And I think the same is happening sort of with social media, where they're like, well, it allows people.
I think it's poison. It's like on the one hand, like there's some really good stuff.
Right. It like allows people to find long lost relatives. It allows
exactly. You can do all sorts of. You can find people. It connects people, and it's like we're all just kind of, exploring the same. It's the human consciousness, the universe exploring itself, kind of thing, and talking to itself. But at the same time, like it's gone a bit rogue, and there's a lot of things involved with it that are. The same kind of things they use for like gambling and little dopamine hits. So like getting likes and getting little hits and all that kind of stuff. It's quite insidious, and so there's really positive sides to it. But it's too much. My brain is literally just like. At the moment, I can't.
Do you think?
Handle.
So there's again going back to this Social Dilemma documentary, which you should really watch. It's super interesting. It covers this topic really well. I'll ask you the question and then I'll tell you what happened. But do you think when they developed the like button on Facebook that they ever thought that it would cause like depression in teens and stuff like that because they weren't getting enough likes? Like, do you think that was a thing that was in the forefront of their minds, or even like at all in their thoughts when creating that part of Facebook or Instagram? Or
it's awful. Like I'm so glad I was born before social media was like a thing. So I grew up and there's not a record of me just being like a total fucking idiot. Do you know what I mean? Like there's an entire generation of people who are essentially becoming completely narcissistic and stuff because they're so worried about how they look because it's there. And the thing is, we sort of breached a point where there's the internet and it's there forever. It's really quite bizarre. And that whole, like the little dopamine hits for likes and retweets and shares and everything else. It's scary stuff, man.
So the guy who invented the like button, he reckons that the idea of people not getting enough likes and getting depressed over it was like not even on his radar. He says in the documentary that he was just trying, that when they developed it, they were just trying to create a thing that would spread love and positivity. Like, you send a like to someone, it's like you're loving. But I find it hard to believe that wasn't a thing that they thought about,
I don't know. It's it's hard. It's so complicated. Honestly, anyway, yeah.
Going back to meditating though, I started meditating a little bit with an app called, what was it called? Waking Up, I think, by Sam Harris. And I used Headspace. Yeah, I've used that one as well. Yeah, I really like guided meditation. I feel like if I sit there doing it by myself, I don't necessarily do it properly. Whereas if I have somebody kind of continuously reminding me to...
There's no right way to do it, though. It's more just sort of, you're shining that light of awareness on yourself, and it's like, who's observing the observer? And what's that thing in your head? And what are we? We're just sort of like sacks of meat and the sum total of all this weird kind of chemical and physiological mush, and suddenly consciousness kind of appears out of it. It's like, what the fuck is it? Oh shit, what am I? What's going on? We're all connected. It's all like, been reading too much stuff about this kind of thing.
Yeah, what have you been reading?
Currently, I say reading, like listening to audiobooks. I have a really good audiobook by a guy called Adam Rutherford called How to Argue with a Racist. And he is
How to argue with a what?
How to argue with a racist.
Oh, wow,
and
okay.
He is he's a geneticist, and he's on the BBC, and he basically is just talking about it completely disassembles every kind of argument about racism and how, we all come from, there's like mitochondrial Eve, and we all come from Ethiopia, and how the human diaspora spread from Africa, and how we've all spread out, and there's different types of people, and it kind of relates to those books, Sapiens and Homo Deus by...
Yuval Noah Harari. Yuval Noah Harari.
All that sort of stuff. So just sort of reading that stuff, and, it's all kind of tying in together at the moment for me.
Nice.
So, but, yeah.
I've been reading this book lately called This Is Your Brain on Music by Daniel Levitin. I'll tell you a really interesting fact. There's this psychoacoustic effect called restoration of the fundamental frequency. And if you take the fundamental frequency out of a thing, but it has all the other harmonics present that would make it allude to the fact that fundamental frequency should be there, then your brain kind of makes up the difference. And a good example of this is with like a vocal, right? Like a female vocal in pop music doesn't need to have all of those very low body fundamentals that a female vocal generally has, because in the context of that pop song, your brain makes up that fundamental difference anyway. And this was proven with owls. What they did was they played an owl classical song with all the fundamentals removed from like the melody, and they had electrodes attached to the owl's head, and then the pulses that the owl's neurons and stuff sent back to the computer were converted back into MIDI, and it remade the exact melody that was missing from that classical song. Which is crazy. So it's not even a thing that just happens with humans. It's a thing that happens with owls as well.
Yeah, no, that's the thing. Like, animals have. Isn't there a part of a whale, like a whale's brain they have an emotional part of their brain that we don't have? Did you ever watch that film Blackfish?
No, I haven't.
Which I highly recommend watching it. But it was like, that's why SeaWorld and all that stuff is so evil. But like whales basically have like an extra part of their brain that's like a extra emotional center that we don't have. So they feel such a connection to their offspring that we don't have. And so when keeping killer whales in captivity in SeaWorld, and then they would separate the mother from its offspring, and it would just literally like be dying, yearning, like crying with grief on a level that we can't comprehend because we don't have that part in our brain.
So we can't experience sadness to the level
we can't experience that sort of level of emotion.
I feel like also different people probably experience different level of emotion, right? Like, for instance, when I see someone who's hysteric, I just cannot like fathom anything in the world that could make me that hysteric, because I've just never been susceptible to hysteria, really. Or like
that's it. If you it's what is it? Yeah, is my red the same as your red? If you watch much of the Vsauce stuff. Hi, Michael here. Vsauce. All that shit. Yeah. Like, really interesting. You know, it's like, oh, perception. It's all different. Like, yeah, you create your own reality, and it's totally on you, and it's your own perception. And you can have two people can see the same event and have two totally different takeaways from it. And yeah, it's I don't know what my fucking point is. Just waffling on.
I want to Google something quickly about hysteria now that I've mentioned it. Because this fact is hilarious, and I want to make sure that I get it right. Okay, here we go. Doctors created vibrators after growing tired of masturbating hysterical women. That's an actual fact.
What?
Yeah, so 100 years ago, the vibrator was invented to relieve doctors whose fingers were frequently cramped from treating hysteria in female patients. Afterwards, it became a popular household appliance to help women get off on their own. So the vibrator was invented by doctors because when a woman came in who was hysterical, they thought the solution was to finger her. So is the world...
Say to that?
I would say the world is less fucked up today than it was then.
No, it's all relative, you know. We're like, on the one hand, we are living through the most prosperous, brilliant, forward-thinking, amazing time in human history, you know. But again, it's all relative, and it's sort of that exponential curve. It's like if you were to take someone, for example, I think about when I was a kid, and I used to dream about like, oh, I wish I had like a little watch and I could put little tiny little micro cassettes into it and watch episodes of Transformers on my little tiny watch. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whereas now it's like, oh shit, you've got an iPhone. You can literally watch anything, anywhere, and do anything on the go, anywhere, wherever.
Yeah, it's insane.
We're in the future. It's fucking crazy. So, like, taking a moment to step back and actually recognise that we're 5 years past the future of Back to the Future 2.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know, he's like, fuck me, we live in the future. This is crazy. But, so just taking a step back and just trying to be like, holy shit, wow, this is crazy. And that kind of curve for technology and any sufficiently advanced technology is indistinguishable from magic for someone who doesn't know about it, if you know what I mean. So you could show someone a phone from today in the 90s and they'd be like, oh yeah, that's a phone. But then like showing them an iPhone, they'd be like, what the fuck is this? You know, and then
you'd be like, check it out. I can press a button and a car shows up and takes me somewhere.
And it sort of goes back. But that kind of curve is getting sharper. So in 10 years' time, there's going to be some technology that we'd just be like, what is that voodoo magic? Like, what the fuck is that?
What do you think the time is between? Well, how long do you think it'll take before we'll just fully be producing music on phones? Because if you think about it, it's not going to be long, isn't it? Like, because it's now got to the point where it's like you can already produce a good sounding song on a phone, but it's a little tough and it's a little bit of a pain in the ass.
You can make a tune on an iPad. You can make a tune on a phone. It's no problem. Like, it's literally the processing power is there. It's not now for audio. There's more than enough processing power. The thing that's the beast is if you're doing like high end sort of 3D graphics or game development and things like that. But like audio stuff, you're like, oh, it's pretty much. I've got the same iMac I've had for like 7 years. Still can't rag it out, kind of thing. It still absolutely like smashes it.
It's funny as well how processing power for audio now is out of it's like you said, way further than it needs to be for anything we pretty much need to do. But it's funny how tricks that were designed to get around processing power still stick around today, right? Like resampling, for instance. I remember back in the day on the Dogs on Acid forum where people would be like, oh man, how do people get like that much depth into their basses and stuff like that? And they were like, well, you make a really simple bass and then you render it into audio to transcend your computer's processing power, and then you process it a little bit and then you resample it again and process it again, resample it again, and keep doing that until you have a really crazy bass sound that you just throw in a sampler and then play it on a sampler, and it doesn't take that much processing power anymore. But that's still a technique that we use today, even though we have the processing power to throw on 500 plugins onto a single channel if we want.
Yeah, I don't know. I still sort of tend to see that. My whole thing is like my arrangement pages are just pure chaos. But it's literally like, you know, I trying to collab with people is an absolute nightmare, because the way I work is sort of, I'll have my sound design process. It's like a set of stairs. So I've taught myself Ableton mainly just to be able to collaborate with people. But obviously I'm still like a Logic guy from day. But I'll sort of do it where it's like a set of stairs. And so we'll have this kind of, be like, right, make a sound, bounce in place, do something else, bounce in place, keep going. And then you sort of get that end result, and it's sort of that processing chain is done that way. If that makes any sense.
Yeah, it's iterative.
Yeah, that kind of thing. Yeah, I don't know what my fucking point was.
I don't feel like there's any point to anything in these podcasts. Usually it's usually just a bunch of words.
I'm literally just chatting shit.
You can, I think these podcasts are very similar to my music, where my music is just a bunch of organized sound, and these podcasts are just a bunch of ordered words.
Yeah, exactly. It's all just one glorious whole.
Yeah, what else have you been doing in the quarantine? Are you still quarantined? You're in Bristol or London?
No, so I'm in London at the moment. So, God, so it's literally been like the most sort of craziest 6 months of my life. So, so I have a small like apartment flat, whatever. It's like a masonette in southeast London with my partner. Well, it's now my ex. So after 13 years, we've decided to sort of high five and call it a day, and it's completely amicable. So I'm going to relocate to Bristol so I can be more involved with like the SLUG WIFE crew and that kind of thing, and sort of get on with doing music properly. It's weird. It's funny. It's literally taking like a global pandemic, the ending of a 13-year relationship, and all of these things for the universe to kind of like punch me in the nuts and be like, this is what you need to do. Okay, cool. So, so yeah, I'm looking to move to Bristol because it's like amazing place and there's so many cool people there. And
yeah, what is it about Bristol? I've never been there, but like I know Culprit's there, Curses
there's
there.
There's so many people there, man. It's just, who knows? I don't know. I don't know. It's just there's really cool people there. It has a really cool kind of individual vibe. It just has its thing. Everyone just seems to be really kind of chill. London is like very expensive and it's a bit too spread out, although it's my home and I love it. And, I want to stay here. And by hook or by crook, I'm like, cool, we need to sort of hang on to this apartment that we've got. So whatever happens, let's just keep hold of it. But yeah, at the moment, I'm like, right, I need to find a place in Bristol and to sort of get on and can finally sort of concentrate on doing music 100%. Because I've always just been a bit like, oh, I don't know what I'm doing. Oh, God. And it's slowly, catchy monkey starting to figure stuff out.
Well, it seems like from the outside, you put out releases regularly, and it seems like music is your main thing, at least to me. And, you're doing shows regularly before the pandemic. And I think if there's anything that I've kind of realized from this pandemic is that work from home stuff it works fine. Like for instance, I live in San Francisco now, and this is the tech industry hub, right? It's like where Facebook, Google, everything is. Like Twitter is literally down the road from my house. Uber is down the road from my house. It's like all the shit is here, right? And all of those companies through this pandemic have had to employ a work from home policy. And what they've all realized is everything's fine. There's no need for people to go into an office, right? And I feel the same.
The world is just, it's getting to that point. It was like, oh, actually, like people can work from home.
Right. So why is that not the case for you working from home in London?
So I can work from home. Like I can work anywhere.
I mean, you already are working from home.
I'm working from home. Like, yeah. And we live in the future. So as long as I've got my laptop or my iMac or whatever, and so I've like got my monitors. I have a pair of Odyssey LCDXs.
Dude, those headphones slap.
So, like they're so good. I've got these HD 600 Zennies, which are my sort of like, they're like my sort of workhorse things. And then just various different sort of monitoring options. And I've got a sub pack, and then you do the phone test and all of these different things. And you reference it with like visualizers and everything else. And then checking it out on other people's stuff. It's like, you can, it's a best guess, and it's all just a best guess and just trying my best. It's like, I don't think my mixes suck, but they could be better. But I'm not a mix engineer. I don't fucking know.
Yeah. There is something, though, I think, about being in an area for stuff that's creative, like music. I mean, I can really only speak for music because it's the only creative thing I do. But, like, there's a thing I think about being an electronic musician. It does make a big difference to be in an area that feels very conducive to making electronic music in. And I feel like London is honestly great for that. When I was there, I felt like very inspired to make certain kinds of stuff. And in San Francisco, I feel very inspired. In Denver, I felt very inspired. But there were certain times when I was living in Australia, like I lived out in the middle of fucking nowhere in this little town called Windsor. And it was Windsor, New South Wales, and it was not that inspiring. It was like a pretty uninspiring place because there was not a lot of electronic music history. There was no electronic music history there. Yeah. There was no electronic music scene there. Everyone around me thought that electronic music was a joke. So there's that, right? And then on top of that, I think and this sounds like airy fairy hippie, but I think certain areas just have a like just a vibe in the air, right? Like you could be there completely detached from talking to anybody else or being around anybody else ever, and it still feels like creative.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, I say, yeah, who fucking knows? It's weird. Like Square Pusher and Aphex coming from like Cornwall. It's like, oh, it's this weird little bit of Cornwall. It's like, why are those guys sort of coming from there? Or why was, you know, Perth, like with Pendulum and then all the breaks, that kind of thing, and like all these weird little diasporas of pockets and things, and you know, like who fucking knows? I don't know.
Yeah, it's strange. One thing I noticed when I was in London is that the level of producer in the UK is just higher, I think, than in America. Like I met a few random producers there who were just like nobodies, who were just, you know, friends of funnies or whatever. And they were just fucking awesome producers. They didn't even, they were like, yeah, this isn't even my main thing. I work at a shop preparing fish for a butcher or something. And they're like, but you know, I just so happen to be like, you know, in the top 10 neuro producers you've ever met as well. And it's like, okay, well, why isn't this your main thing?
I think there's a direct correlation to like the more complicated someone's music is, the more kind of intelligent they are, you know. Whereas like the people that make the really kind of basic music are usually gonna be fucking douchebags. Where it's like, oh, actually, the more time and effort you put into it, and it all comes down to just like basically how bothered can you be to do something? Like, how much effort can you be asked to put into doing stuff? You know, and that's the constant thing with me. It's like constantly trying to one up myself, or is like, am I covering the same ground? Am I expanding on an idea that I've already done previously, or am I trying to reiterate something better, or am I trying to do something new? You know, like everything goes in cycles. Like what's new, and it's always new for someone, you know. Yeah, again, don't know what my fucking point is, but
I feel like the standard of producer was higher in London because the show system there is a lot different than in America. Like in America, you can not even be a producer. You could just be a DJ, or like you could just be, you know, whatever. You could have been producing for like 6 months or a year, and you'll get put onto shows, right? Because there's just so many shows happening, and there's just so many people who want to go to shows, and there's just so many promoters who want to promote shows.
It's such a massive market. America is huge. Like you forget how fucking huge it is.
Well, that's what I'm saying, and then that's why you don't have to be as good to play a show here, right? Whereas in England, it seems like to play a show, you have to be insanely good. And it also seems like the person who headlines the show in the UK is just like the oldest person, like the person who's been around the longest, it seems. There's like this whole respect system and actual appreciation for technical prowess and ability there, it seems like. Whereas here, that a little bit gets thrown out the window because the industry is so massive and oversaturated, and it's just all about fucking capitalism and stuff like that.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Like, I don't know. If I did, you know, I'd be rich. I'm not. I'm poor, but I just muddle through. We're all just doing our best. I'm just quite happy to be this little quiet guy in the corner. It's like, I'm fine. You know, I've got my little pod. This is what I always call it. It's like the pod. It's like as long as I've got my room and I can make some tunes and I get through and, you know, do stuff, that's enough. And practicing gratitude for what you have, rather than like, you know, I don't want very much out of life at all. I'm like literally a little cabin in the woods. I want that little, remember Donkey Kong Country? Do you ever play that game?
I never played that, no.
You never played it? Oh, there's like old, I forget his name, it's like Grandpa Kong or whatever. He's got like a little monkey hut and it's these little kind of interlude bits. And I was like, oh man, I could just happily have just a cabin in the woods. And as long as you've got the internet, that's fine. Like my dream in life is, do you know what? I really want COVID just to fuck off so I can just move to Japan and actually be a weeboo, otaku dickhead, working in izakaya, make tunes, actually properly learn Japanese. That's me. Done. You know, really don't need very much at all. You know, there's literally no need for anyone to be a billionaire in the world. You know,
imagine if you said the same thing you just said, but about alcohol. Like, imagine if you're like, I just need to go live in the woods, and as long as I've got alcohol, everything will be fine.
Well, there are some wise words I heard from a tramp once was like, beer was the feeling you should have about beer. I was like, oh, yeah, fair enough. You know.
No, but I mean, like, you just said the same thing about the internet, right? Like, you go out here, like, as long as you have the internet, who gives a shit? But like, that was just circling right back to your point at the start to say that we might look one day at the social media thing being like an addiction, right? Or like a really bad thing.
It's definitely
like
addictive because they've definitely, like, it's out there, and they use the same psychological ticks to get you scrolling. And, you know, I'm sure I saw Jack from Turning Sound put up a post where it's like, oh, you can just, like, you find yourself endlessly just scrolling, like thumbing through Facebook, and you stop and you sort of feel like drained, like you've done a drug or something. And like, it's fucking true, you know, like, how is people like are addicted to their own brains, like being a gym bod. It's like, oh, you're just addicted to your own brain. It's like, oh, if you don't work out, oh, I don't feel good. Oh, it's like, you're just addicted to your own sort of dopamine and endorphins and all of this kind of stuff. You know, again, which is like a sack of meat and chemicals, just sort of trying to do our best.
Yeah, I think the difference, though, is that with being on a device that has supercomputers behind it, on the other side of it, pointed at your brain, trying to trick you into clicking more shit, versus doing something that our ancestors have evolved to do over 100,000 years, like exercise. Yeah, I think there's a little bit of a difference there. I'm not a gym bod, but I definitely think exercise is good and important.
Exercise is very important. Like, you know, again, it's balance. And that's the thing. It's like, I've done a lot of kind of readings on Buddhism and stuff like that. And it's, you know, the concept of the middle way and balance and yin and yang and all of that kind of stuff. It's like, yeah, you need like balance. You need to exercise. You know when you need to fucking move around a bit and like stop eating shit and stop getting so fucked up. But at the same time, it's fun to get fucked up, you know. But it's just like, yeah, trying to find that balance and hit that thing is hard. And like, everyone's just doing the best they fucking can.
Yeah, everything in moderation, even moderation, right?
Exactly.
Have you ever done this style of meditation? I think this might be a Buddhist practice called, I don't know what it's called, but it's the one that you do for like a week, where you don't talk for a week and you try and sit there still for
I've not done that, no. That sounds...
That's Vipassana, is it? Or what is that called?
Vipassana is more just like the concentration on breath, whereas Zen is more like, you know... So like cone sound, for example, there's like the cone riddle, and it's the idea being that like it basically makes your brain just go, ah, and then you attain enlightenment because it just kind of unravels itself. And so there's different ways to kind of attain enlightenment. And that's, you know, there's all sorts of research coming out about, they've put people on in MRI and CAT scan things who are on LSD and ketamine and whatever else. And it's like, oh, it actually like connects different parts of your brain and lights up, so visual, auditory and memory cortexes and stuff. And it's like, oh fuck, you can have like actual enlightenment off taking drugs. But it's what was the analogy I heard? It's like psychedelics are like are a tent outside the house of enlightenment, if that makes any sense.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
So it's sort of like, oh, they like, you can kind of get little brief moments of it, but it requires real fucking practice to actually attain it, and it's a lifetime's bloody work, you know. So who's gonna do that? Buddhist monks do it, but I feel like Western society is definitely, we've gone a bit too far down the
just ignoring that whole aspect of things.
Yeah, to sort of, you know, we need a balance again of science and religion. And there needs to be that kind of happy mix. There's a lot of good Eastern philosophy that I think is important. And then science kind of backs it up as well. You know, thought is creative. And I was listening to a thing on Radio 4 the other day where it's like, to forget something, the energy is created when you forget something, when you start getting onto a quantum level. It's mind-boggling stuff, you know. Again, like,
Speaking
I feel like...
of Speaking of neuroscience, one thing that was in this book that I was reading, This Is Your Brain on Music, is that when, like you were talking about different parts of the brain lighting up in fMRI or, CAT scans or whatever, when you're on drugs, they've done similar tests where they've attached people's brains to whatever EEGs or MRIs or whatever to just see what parts light up. Yeah. And when people are like watching a movie or looking at a piece of art, like certain parts light up. When they read a book, like other parts light up. When you listen to music though, like every part of your brain lights up, which is crazy.
Yeah, music is amazing, but it's, you can listen to a piece of music and it just transports you back in time. And you combine that with a smell or a taste or a touch or something, and suddenly it's like, oh, fucking hell, wow. You can remember something. And that's where like people with Alzheimer's and dementia, it's like, oh, you put them in front of a piano if they were a trained musician doing piano, and they might be kind of completely unresponsive, but then it's all kind of still there. And it's that all of that stuff is to do with like plaquing of the brain and how it works, and but it's all there, and it's why your brain remains plastic throughout your entire life. So this is why I get fucked off with people who be like, oh, I'm stuck in my ways. It's like, no, your brain is plastic. It remains fluid throughout your entire life. You can learn something new all the time, and that's why I think it's incumbent on everyone to like try and learn a second language or a third language, or like at least learn a second language. That's why it fucks me off in England that there's not an emphasis on learning another language, because it just completely broadens your worldview. Like English seems to be the kind of, it's the business language, and for myriad reasons, but it's completely limiting. Whereas there's certain concepts in like Japanese or Arabic or Hungarian or whatever that you can express different things. Like, for example, the whole idea of like Schadenfreude. It's like, oh, the joy of someone else fucking it up, and you get taking joy of that. It's like, oh, there's no English expression for that. So
but we can understand it. It just takes a sentence to explain the feeling.
But that's it. Language is a very powerful tool, but it's also very limiting as well. And it's like people get a bit too caught up in language.
But do you think that learning a language broadens your emotional horizon? Because I mean, like I can see somebody fucking something up and be like, haha, hilarious. I mean, there's entire things in English that are based around that, right? Like fucking funniest home videos where it's just watching people get hurt constantly, right? Or
yeah, I've watched a shit ton of like Frail Army.
So it's not like English people or people who just speak English don't experience this emotion. It's just that we don't have a single word for it.
No, we don't have. There's not a particular adjective or verb for it or whatever.
Right. So it's not like it's broadened the Germans' emotional capacity just by having this word.
I just think it's it's a shame. What is it? Esperanto. You're aware of that thing? It's like a language that was invented. It's like, oh, everyone would learn their mother tongue, and then everyone would learn Esperanto. Esperanto would be the language that everyone else was taught, so we could all talk to each other in Esperanto, and we'd all have our mother tongue as well. But that's not how language works.
Right. Kind of English is like Esperanto, right? But
English has sort of become that thing, which makes English people fucking lazy. It's like, oh, speak English. It's like, no, that's so fucking lazy.
So in India, there's just so many different languages there. Actually, I should Google this.
Well, what is it? There's like Urdu, Hindi.
Oh man, it's so many.
There's a few.
There's 22 languages. Yeah, so there's Assamese, Bengali, Gujarati, Hindi, Kannada, Kashmiri, Konkani, so on and so forth, Punjabi, Sanskrit, Tamil, or Urdu. Yeah, there's tons. And they like India is pretty big. I mean, it's not as big as you'd think though, right? It's like the size of Texas plus a little bit, I think. Like it's
pretty big though. There's 1.3 billion people on the Indian subcontinent.
Population wise, it's giant, but like actual geographically, I don't think it's as big as you would think. Like, it's definitely not as big as America. It's definitely not as big as Australia. But there's so many fucking people there, and you can travel like a couple of 100 kilometers in one direction or less, like 50 kilometers or whatever, and it's just a completely different language. And the languages are not even similar. Like Sanskrit, I believe, is like not at all similar to any of them. Hindi is not similar to any. Like you go, like Indian people who speak Hindi, right, go 100 kilometers one way, and they're in a town where people just speak a language that they can't speak, and they can't even understand. It's not even like a different dialect. It's a completely different fucking language. It's like the difference between English and whatever, like Chinese. And
it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy, man.
The result of this, though, is that in India the mother tongue is English.
Yeah, but then that's is that a result of like the Raj and Empire and Britain and
I think it's that? I've heard from Indian people, and I don't know if this is true, but I've heard that the reason they made it English is so nobody in India won. It was kind of like a petty thing, being like, all right, well, I don't want Hindi to win, so fuck you. Like, we're all going to just agree that it's English, so nobody wins.
Who fucking knows? It's so, again, it's very complicated.
Always. Well, this thing says there's more than 19,500 mother tongues spoken in India. Is that true? There are 121 languages which are spoken by 10,000 or more people in India, which has a population of 121 crore. What is crore?
Crore?
That is 10 million. Wait, yeah, crore is 10 million people. So 121 million. So 121 language. I don't understand that. But it says more than 19,500 languages or dialects are spoken in India as mother tongues, according to the latest analysis of the census released this week. And that was in 2018. Dude, 19,500 languages for...
That's ridiculous.
Yeah, for 1.5 billion people or whatever. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, at that point, you kind of have to be like, all right, everyone speak English. Shut the fuck up.
Everyone just
speaking crawl.
Oh man, yeah, I don't know. Oh god, it's hard enough. It's hard enough just fucking speaking English. Do you know what I mean? Like trying to get your point across and articulate it and be succinct.
Yeah, man, I need to build. That's one thing I've always tried to keep doing, is building my vocabulary, and I've done a horrible job at it. Like, I mean, just a few times in this conversation, you've used a lot of words that I know, but I would never use. And I feel like
it's I find language fascinating and etymology and the history of words. There's a really good book called Mother Tongue by Bill Bryson. I don't know if I mentioned it before, but it's like talking about like English is just like a complete bastard in terms of a language. Like there's a Germanic influence, there's the French sort of influence, there's the Nordic Latin influence. Like there's so many, the Latin part of it. Like it's a complete hodgepodge of everything, and it's like it makes no fucking sense, but you can fuck it and still get your meaning across, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. Well, I mean, fucking a lot of people fuck it. Like you go to, certain parts of England, and like, I mean, there's a word that you said earlier, like you were like, oh, I'm prang. I don't think that's
pranging. Sorry. But that's it. But again, it's like language is fluid, and it's like it constantly changes, and it's cultural, and it's become, so there's the whole thing at the moment of like, I don't even know what you'd fucking call it, but like Ute speak. So like, yes, fam, get me blood. That kind of thing, which is a kind of merging of like Cockney and Patois. You're like, oh, that's an entirely new sort of almost dialect coming out of there. And like Jamaican Patois is like English, but it's a different dialect. It's like, fuck me, you have to really like concentrate and listen to figure out what's going on. The same could be said of like deep set Glaswegian. You're like, it's such a thick accent. You're like, what? Same with like Geordie people. Like the thing about the UK is like every 20 miles there's a different accent, and there can be different meanings. I remember being on the train with my girlfriend, and we were going to Penrith in the Lake District, and the conductor came along and he was like, "Oh, tickets, please." And I was like, "Yeah, here you go." And he's like, "Oh, lovely, that's Belton." And my girlfriend was like, No, we're going to Penrith." And I was like, "No, he means that's okay." Because to say, "Oh, that's belting," means like, "Oh, that's good." It's
That's
like
belting.
that's belting, lad. You know, it's fucking crazy.
I like English people's slang for music. They're like, "Oh, that's a fucking stinker."
That fucking, oh yeah, that's a banger. That stinks. Oh, yeah. I don't know. It's fascinating stuff.
There's so many good words and genres and stuff that have come out of England, like UK garage, bassline.
But then garage
grime.
comes from America, doesn't it? Because it comes from the garage. The same as house music comes from America.
Well, house and techno for sure. But UK garage, really? Does that come from America?
Well, garage is an American music, but then there's UK garage. So then it's that, again, it's that cross-pollination between two places. And, you know, how the UK, it's interesting to me, like America at the moment, where it's, you know, obviously the sort of post-EDM explosion or whatever. And it's just funny seeing the relationship American people have to it. It's so different because there's not a culture of raving. They don't have that. There's just not a history of raving, which you know, like so many American people get fucked off if you do a pull up. So if you do a reload, and it's like what? And then that's a Jamaican thing that comes from like dance hall. And,
what is a pull up?
You know, when you do a reload, so you're like rewind
and then play it again.
Like, play again. Like that's a dub thing, and that comes from Jamaica, which then through like Windrush generation and stuff coming to the UK, and then the foundations of like dub music, and then that turning into like jungle and hardcore and all of this kind of stuff. There's a kind of cultural language that's got lost in America that they don't have. If you see what I mean? So it's so bizarre, and it's really fascinating sociologically for me to see.
Why would you do a pull up? Like what is
because when the tune is so fucking fire, you're just like, fuck off, play it again. Do it again. Play again. Nah, fuck off, wheel it, play again. And that whole concept of like just wheeling a tune, you know, and it's a very like Jamaican but then UK thing. And like people in America are just baffled by it. They're like, what are you doing? And it's like, no, it means like you're so gassed, you're so hype, the tune is so fucking banging, you have to stop it and start it again because, oh my God, I'm gonna lose my shit.
Yeah, that makes sense. But then again, like what somebody thinks is really sick, right? Like the DJ or whatever, I might not necessarily think is so sick, but then there might be another thing that they played that's so sick. And also, like, so I'll be like, well, why did you reload that one and not the other one? Why not reload every
Well, that's it again. And then it's all subjective, isn't it?
Totally. But then also another part of that from a like DJ perspective, like from my perspective, if I'm playing something and I think something is very sick, I'll place it in the set at such a time that's like the peak of the set, right? And then I won't play it again because I kind of want this thing to climax and then go back down again or whatever. And then, I don't know, it's like playing something once to somebody gives it like re-listen value, I guess. Like they want to come back again to hear the thing again or whatever. But I guess, it makes sense, I guess. But I've never...
I don't know. They're just fun. It's just fun when someone does a pull-up. It's just like, whoa, gun fingers, fuck, shit. You know, but it's a different, again, it's just interesting. It's just, have to adjust the way you play for like UK and European audiences and in America. It's just interesting.
What about dubstep? Like that's a UK thing, right?
Yeah, well, dubstep is like a totally UK thing. Like that's where it came from. So fuck me, I've been around. Like, well, I started in like 2006. So yeah, been Reso. I literally can see. I think I joined like the dubstep forum in like August 2006, and used to go to four. So all those nights and people that have been kind of what's the word, like immortalized of like history, like going to Forward and DMZ and stuff. It's like, oh, I was there, I went to all of these nights and was there and was part of it, and was like, it was just fucking wicked. It was a massive sausage fest, but it was basically just people like making anything they wanted in a dark room filled with skunk smoke and just shacking out to these tunes. And it was fucking awesome, you know. And then, I don't know, yeah, it just sort of got a bit misconstrued. But it's come back round again now where it's in a really healthy place. And so I'm like, oh, great. So I'm really kind of back on that sort of 140 thing. But I think my problem has always been that I like too much stuff. And so I'm a marketing man's nightmare. Where it's
I feel like
you like making everything, you like doing everything. I think you're the same, right? You know, it's like, how do you do it? People like to put things in boxes, like to put things in neat little packages. And it's, how do you...
Well, here, check this out. I can show you something real quick. I'll screen share to you, and then we can sort of talk about what I'm screen sharing to you. So people, this is something I've never done on this podcast, but I think, All right. So can you see that?
Good grief. What is that? Project file stock take.
So this is project file stock take, exactly. So basically I'm naming everything, putting the BPM of everything, the key of everything, whether or not the project file has missing plugins, missing samples, whether or not there's a wave render of it in my whips folder, what genre it is.
You're far too organized for me.
Okay, so basically what, like for people listening, it's a spreadsheet with multiple columns. One column is the title of the project file. Another one is some notes on the project file. Like for instance, this one says tipper style, scratching, funky beat, tip hop vibes. Hey. This one says horrible production, but decent ideas. This one says as it sounds, it's a G Jones influenced beat. This one says Trent Reznor notes type film score shit with a pulsing synths. And then it has the BPM in another column, the genre in another column. So, like cinematic synths, glitch hop, techno, tipper style, pure jazz, salsa trap, like whatever. And then has all the keys in another column, and then some other shit. But I also want to add another column, which is like how finished it is, and I want to categorize it into whip, loop, which is like just a little 4-bar loop thing, whip, which is kind of like, it's somewhere getting to this point of a tune, then tune, which basically means like this is basically a finished tune, it just needs a mix down or whatever, and then finished basically, I guess. And essentially the point of this is to solve that problem you were just talking about. I'll stop my share now, which is that it's to solve the problem you were just talking about, which is like you want to make everything like you just saw in there. I have cinematic shit, I have jazz, I have salsa trap, I have fucking glitch, I have drum and bass, like everything, right? And the point of it is I want to take stock of like all my project files for the last 5 or 6 years and then sort of categorize everything into projects. So I want to be able to be like, all right, this would be really good to put together into, one project I have an idea for is there's a website called BeatStars where you can just upload hip hop beats there and rappers may or may not rent the beat basically. And I just have a bunch of weird... It's so fucking... Okay, so do you know the song Old Town Road by Lil Nas X?
Vaguely, I think.
It's
probably.
The biggest...
I don't know.
It's the biggest song that has happened in like the last 30 years. Probably.
I think I probably do know it, but I live in a little cave and tend to just try and ignore everything.
All right, here we go. Here's some statistics on Lil Nas X's Old Town Road, and then I'll explain to you how this came about. Wait, I have to subscribe to this website to read this information. Fuck that. Okay, it's the paywall. It's the longest running number one song in an amount of time that I can't actually see. In its latest week, Old Town Road had 72.5 million streams in the United States and was played 7,500 times on the radio. So it's become the longest running number one in US chart history, actually, which overtook Louis Fonzi's Despacito and Mariah Carey's One Sweet Day, which both spent 16 weeks at number one. This spent 19 weeks, I think. But anyway, so the way that this song came about was a guy took a Trent Reznor song from some weird B-side thing that Trent Reznor uploaded to the internet one day and turned it into a rap beat and then uploaded it to this website called BeatStars. And then this guy called Lil Nas X, who's just some random rapper who had a microphone like you or I in his bedroom, downloaded that beat or he rented the beat actually from BeatStars or bought the beat for like $30 or something.
Yeah.
And then rapped over it, released it, and it became the biggest song that's ever happened.
Well, there you go.
Yeah. So anyway, I have a bunch of projects that are just hip hop beats that I want to upload to this website. I doubt any of them will ever become the biggest song ever, but I think it's an interesting concept.
To me, that's just sort of like you throwing shit at a wall and hoping something sticks.
Yeah, exactly. Just fucking around and seeing what happens. But anyway, so that's one project. And then another project is like, I want to do an IDM album. Another one is I want to do like another dubstep release and so on and so forth. So it's fucking difficult.
There's literally not enough hours in the day to do everything that you need to do.
Yeah, exactly.
I find that where it's like, I want to be in a shoegaze band and I want to be in a prog metal band and I want to be in a funk band, but then I also want to make like drum and bass and dubstep and halftime and everything else and do all of this stuff. And it's sort of like slowly kind of getting there and doing it all, but it's like, oh man, yeah. So I
feel like if I spend a week though just taking stock of everything I have, which it'll be like a week of 12-hour day work, right, to get that stock take sheet populated, then it'll be probably another week of me just looking at it and trying to figure out what goes where. But then I'll have projects with very defined parameters and very defined workloads, right? And then I think at that point I'll be able to very clearly work towards some actual stuff. Because right now it feels like I'm just writing a lot of music with no real goal.
But sometimes that's the point, isn't it? And that's quite nice. And that's sort of part of the practice where it's like, do you know what? You're just doing something because it's fun to create. And it's like just the joy of creating stuff. Like, I've made a lot of music where it's sort of almost just like musical therapy for myself. Whereas I'll watch a lot of weird videos of people who do like walking tours, which is quite strange. So someone's literally just got like a little 4K GoPro and stuck it on their chest, and they'll just be like walking around like Shibuya or New York or something like that, and I'll just make pieces of music that kind of fit to that, or a piece of music where there's like just some turtles floating through a coral reef, and it's like, these kind of infinity loops of music that it's like, great, and it's just a kind of therapy, and you can just leave it on, and it's kind of very satisfying to make. And it's like, I don't know if they have any value or anything, but it's just nice to make stuff and just create stuff. No, I firmly believe that I definitely like stuff that people made because they gave a shit rather than they were making something to make money. The acquisition of stuff is fucking poison.
Totally,
and
but I think
society is built that way at the moment, and I'm like, nah, it's just gone wrong.
Right, but there's a balance, right, to being creative, and I think I do the same thing. This like therapeutic sessions where I just make a bunch of IDM because I find that honestly easy to make, and I just enjoy making weird little pads and melodies and throwing beat repeats on all my drums. Like I find that nice and easy and just like chill, and it's fun to make. But there's so much of that I can do, but then I find there has to be some balance where like if I spend months doing that, then I at least need to spend 2 weeks figuring out where it all goes, I feel like that's...
it's hard. Again, it's really fucking difficult, isn't it, man? It's like life's a shit house, and it's really fucking hard, and we're all just trying to do our best. And so that's why it's kind of like you have to practice loving kindness for yourself and patience, and just being like, well, nothing, as long as you kind of bounce everything out or like keep a record of what you've done, you never know when it might come in useful down the line. So whether it would be in like a sound design aspect or doing a piece of music or whatever, like you never know when something you've done might come in to be really handy.
Totally. And the other thing too is that I don't want to like waste hours of work, right? And for instance, if I've put in over the last few years like fucking thousands of hours of work in Ableton, and if at this point I only end up releasing 100 hours of that work, well then what happens to the other 1900 hours of work that I did, right? Like it should be used for something, whether or not it be like pulled apart and turned into sample packs, whether or not it be uploaded for someone to learn from, whether or not it be sent out to other people to do collabs.
But it's not, you're not, this is that whole thing, isn't it? Where it's like, you're not, I fucking hate the term content. Oh, you need more content. Who's that guy? Who's that fucking Spotify bellend who was like, it's no longer appropriate for a musician to release an album every 3 to 5 years. Like, get fucked, mate. Like, it takes as long as it takes. It's art. Like, you're expressing yourself. You're trying to do something. It takes as long as it takes. Everyone goes at their own pace. You know, and that whole streaming model is completely fucked by that reasoning. It's let me try and not absolutely butcher an analogy, but for example, like the film Requiem for a Dream. It's like, that's a harrowing fucking film, but it's a fucking great film. I don't want to watch it every day, you know, whereas something like, I don't know, like I could watch like Spirited Away every day because I find it comforting. It's like, do I think one's better than the other? No, they're different. But do the whole Spotify model and the whole repeated play model and how many plays it has, equating to a monetary reward for how much it's played, is fucked. If you see what I mean.
Yeah, totally.
Like you can't like.
Well, you're saying that the value of something is not necessarily based on how many times it gets played.
Exactly. You know, how much it's consumed doesn't make something inherently more valuable.
Right, which for an algorithm is tough because the only metric they have is a number that exists on Spotify.
By that logic, like, oh, my favorite piece of music is like a thunderstorm soundtrack thing that I listen to when I go to sleep because I've got rampant tinnitus and I need some kind of this white noise to fucking get rid of this 3.5K tone in my ear. You know, it's like, oh, my favorite piece of music is a thunderstorm. So no, it's not. It's ridiculous.
Right. Yeah.
You know, so that whole model's broken. So it's like, again, everything's going through changes and it's all trying to figure it out. And we've sort of gone through a period where it's like, you know, the zenith of analog technology in the sort of late 90s, early 2000s, and then the sort of music industry being that way. And then now we're into like the streaming age and everyone's just sort of trying their best to figure it out. And again, it's that illusion of history of like, oh, everything that's happened has happened. No, it hasn't. We're still doing it. It's only with the benefit of hindsight. Like if 30 years in the future, you can look back and be like, oh, it was because of that. You know, so...
There was a band called Wolfpack who uploaded an album to Spotify called Sleep. And it was just every song was 31 seconds long because songs have to be longer than 30 seconds to count for a like play for money. And they were all just silence. And they just told their...
just leave it on, right? And that was like a good hack. Yeah.
Yeah, they told their fan base, just put it on when you go to sleep and put it on loop. And as long as you're all clocking up plays for us, we'll get paid money and we can tour and shit like that.
Yeah, absolutely.
And their fans did it and they made a bunch of money. And then Spotify made it illegal to do that. But another funny thing with silent songs on Spotify is because Spotify normalizes everything to negative 13 LUFS or whatever, if you listen to something like John Cage's 433 on there, it just sounds like a fucking pile of noise because it tries to bring it all up to negative 13.
It's trying to make silence into fucking, minus 13 lifts.
Right.
Oh my God. See, and that's a whole different thing as well. It's like, oh, the loudness war, lifts. Oh, what are we all going for, you know?
Well, we're all solving it now with stuff like Spotify and YouTube normalizing everything. It kind of promotes...
because what was it? Like TV standards minus 23... And then Spotify's like minus 13, 14 or whatever it is. But then I get sent shit and I look at it and like some people are hitting like minus 4, minus 5. I'm like, how the fuck do you do that?
People in dubstep, I have a friend named Ula Sile. And I had this conversation with him. I was like, what LUFS do you go for? And he was like, -2 minimum. I was like,
-2?
Yeah.
I'm like, if it hits, like, generally I aim for like -7, -6, which is like, you know, that's squashed as fuck.
Yeah.
But I'm like, okay, it's doing it. It can still kind of be dynamic. And again, it's contextual. It depends on what you're going for. There's no set standard. So we're all just kind of like, oh, shit, oh, what is it? Oh, you know. And like sometimes that squashed thing is an aesthetic choice in and of itself.
Like the Moody Good stuff is zero, like -1, 0, right? Like it's the loudest shit ever. But it suits the song. Like it suits...
Exactly. It's an aesthetic choice.
Yeah.
You know, that completely squashed sound is like, oh, cool, it's a choice. It's all subjective and it kind of works. And sometimes it needs to be like that. Whereas other times it's like, oh, no, you want a really like dynamic piece of music where there's like the loud parts are loud, the quiet parts are quiet. It's not all squashed and limited and compressed to fuck, you know?
Yeah. I find for IDM, I try to aim for about -12, -10, like somewhere around there.
People forget that it's like, you do have a volume button.
Yeah.
You know, or
but
a
the
gain
thing
button.
is people don't touch it. Like people do, like you do, I do, but I mean, fuck, I'm constantly messing with my volume in the studio all day, right? But this is my job, and I'm listening through really nice speakers, and I'm in a treated room. But generally, people on the radio, I mean, at least this is the ideology, right? Is that, or the thought process, is that when somebody hears something that's slightly quieter, they'll just skip it.
Well, it's a psychological phenomenon, isn't it? Where it's like you sort of just think, oh, louder is better, but you get fatigued. So you can't maintain a constant level of just like slamming it without getting oral fatigue. It's like you need those quiet moments, and it's a strange one, you know. But like our natural response is like, oh, if something's louder, it's better.
Yeah, it sounds.
You know, but I'm so
better.
sick. Like, I'm so bored of having conversations with people. It's like the worst thing someone can say to me is like, oh, sick mix down, bro. It's like, I give a fuck about the mix down. I'd rather hear a tune that's got good vibes and a bit of a ropey mix, because you can always get help with the mix, rather than I've heard so much stuff where it's like, well, that's really clinically mixed, but it's like literally like soulless garbage.
Yeah, I would agree. There's songs that I love to listen to where the mix is like decent, but not like, I mean, I can hear issues with it, but they don't bother me as much because the music is good. And then
But
there's
then,
other
yeah,
thing
I
where-
don't know. I find now my life is like, it's literally possible to do anything, and so especially in the like doing electronic music, like it's also clean and clinical. It's like I find myself having to add in noise and like contriving fuck ups to humanize it and make it and give it a vibe, whereas before it was sort of like, oh, you're trying to eliminate, you know, like hum and DC offsetting stuff and all of this kind of shit. It's like, oh my God, it's bizarre. We sort of completely flipped it round. It's like I find myself adding noise and weird crackle and hiss and all this other shit to just kind of give something some life and make it sound less clinical and less, you know. What was the fucking Bieber thing? Expensive sounding sounds. What the fuck does that mean?
Right. I mean, honestly, I kind of know what that means. Well, it means something to me, but what it means to me is probably not what it means to Bieber. You know, what he thinks sounds expensive, I might think sounds cheap or cliche.
Yeah, I'm just sort of like, oh, there's a lot of stuff I hear. It's like, oh, that's really well produced, but it's this soulless kind of trash, you know. And it's like, oh, you can, I don't know. I feel I can hear when somebody made something when they gave a fuck. I like stuff that's made when people actually made it because they wanted to make something and they are expressing something, rather than just sort of being like soulless cash grabbers or whatever it is, you know, which is bad because society is set up for the moment. It's like content farms, just churn out content, more content, more content. I'm like, oh, it's bad.
Yeah, but also the plus side of that is you can go onto Spotify now and go to whatever genre you are into, hit the play button, and on a daily basis get fed 100 new songs from producers you've never heard of that fucking slap.
No, absolutely. Those lizard algorithms like fucking nailed it for me. I got fucked off with Spotify and quit it because I was like, I'd rather spend my, what is it, like $9-10 a month, whatever the fuck it is. I'd rather buy 2 albums off Bandcamp and give them the time and actually invest in it. Whereas I just found myself like just wanting to listen to more. And the Spotify suggestion stuff for me was like, oh, it's really nailed a lot of what I like, and a lot of my favorite music I found has been through that algorithm nailing what it is that I like. But then I hit the arbitrary 10,000 song limit, so it was like a message popped up and it's like, whoa, epic collection, friend, you're gonna have to delete something. It's like, what the fuck? It's like, what? Literally arbitrary fucking limit on the amount of music I'm allowed. Okay, so now I have to start deleting stuff. That's madness.
This was on Spotify?
Yeah.
Ah, interesting. I didn't know that was a thing.
It's ridiculous. There's an arbitrary limit. I think it's about 10,000 songs.
You can listen to 10,000, or you can favorite.
You could only
10,000.
save like so many albums, and so then I was having to make playlists and all of this stuff. I was like, this is ridiculous, you know. So I kind of sacked it off and was like, do you know what? I'm actually just going to spend that money, and you know, Bandcamp is the one. That's the way forward for me.
Yeah, Bandcamp is sick.
Bandcamp is so good, and that's literally like
so that's
keeping me alive at the moment.
Yeah, Bandcamp is also based here in San Fran.
Yeah, they literally seem to be the only company who have actually done something that is genuinely helping people out, like the Bandcamp Fridays where they do their revenue.
Dude, that shit
revenue share.
Yeah,
it's
that's
incredible.
been very cool.
You know, where Spotify's like, what you done? Nothing. Apple Music, what you done? Nothing.
You should just walk up to the CEO of Apple. What is his name?
Oh man, honestly, I feel like sort of doing like a secret Twitter account.
Walk up
and
to
just
Tim
kind
Cook and be like, what have you done?
I'll just
Nothing.
literally like punch him in the bollocks and be like, fuck you.
What have you done, Tim Cook? Nothing.
Yeah, what have you done? Fuck all, dickhead. Suck your mum.
Classic. Fuck yeah, dude. Well, dude, it's been sick to have you on the podcast. It's been
Has that literally
conversation.
been that's just pure non sequitur waffle from my point? Sorry.
No,
No
it's been-
thread, no point, no nothing.
I feel like we've made some points, and
I'm sure there's some little nuggets in there.
yeah. I mean, I think mostly what this podcast is. So here's what I've come to the conclusion of, right? Like, I'm not a scientist. None of my friends are scientists. This is not going to be like fucking a radio lab, and it's not going to be like Joe Rogan, who has like the best fucking authors on the planet and scientists and fitness instructors coming onto his podcast. For me, this is just like musicians talking.
Man,
shit.
I love this podcast. This is a weird kind of meta dream for me, because I literally listen to this like when I walk my dog, and so
Nice.
I've been listening to all of the episodes and like listening.
What is the value that you get out of it?
I just really enjoy listening to like hearing other people's opinions on stuff. So it was like really interesting listening to the episode the other day with Aaron Vector.
Oh yeah, I love
And then
that.
him talking about like how he's got cerebral palsy and how people think he's completely fucking waved. And I'm like, you know, because I've got like, you can see I've got Poland syndrome. So it's a congenital birth defect where it's like, I've got one small hand, but it affects my pectoral muscle on my right side and all this stuff. And people will be like, oh, haven't you done well? It's like, what do you mean, haven't I done fucking well, you lunatics? It's like, I'm not disabled. So I've just got like, be glad that you've got two opposable thumbs, you bastards. Like, how amazing to have two thumbs. Great.
At least
Good for
you're
you.
not like Aaron, where people come up and be like, "Oh, are you on Molly all the time?"
No, honestly, like every gig I've done where I used to wear, like, I'd always wear a hat and a hoodie, and everyone would come up to me and ask me if I was a shot. I'd be like, bro, have you got any pills? I'm just like, what? You've come to see me DJ, you dickhead. You know, I was like, I should have definitely been a drug dealer, because I would have probably made a lot more money selling drugs at my own shows. But it's like, fucking hell, it's just funny, you know.
How much dexterity do you have with your small hand?
Fuck all.
Really? So like, how do you go with Ableton and stuff like that?
So I've got enough so I can do like shortcuts and things and have it set up. And then like, you know, I've played drums since I was 9. And the way I do it is like, I literally tie the drumstick to my arm with a shoelace.
Oh, wow. Oh, dude, actually, there was a drummer in Australia. His name was Barry Shackleton. He used to play for this band called Emotion. And he had it might have been the same defect, Poland or whatever. But he had like a waist, like he basically, when he was a baby, one arm just didn't grow and the other one did. And he used to do the same thing. He'd tie a drumstick to his little baby arm and be able to,
you can just my little baby arm.
it works well though. Like he was able to.
It fucking works, and it's like I'm gutted, because it's like, I get annoyed. It's like, I'm never going to be really amazing at the keys, or I'm never going to be as good a drummer as I want to be, because I haven't got the range of motion in my hand. But if I wasn't born like this, I'd probably just be some dickhead from South London who's like some towny fucking idiot.
Well, that's the thing, right? There's
better. So
there's people who are disabled, like who are born with no legs, who fucking would outrun most normal, people not normal, but most people who are born with their legs, right? So it's like,
but that's it. That's why I'm like, practice gratitude for what you have.
Dude, exactly. Like Oscar Opio, and so two things. Oscar Opio, he was born with an issue with one of his ears, to the point where he had to have an operation to where he like cannot hear in one ear anymore. So he's basically deaf completely in one ear, and he fucking makes music, right? And I talked to him about that one day. I was like, how do you feel about that, like not being able to hear in one ear? And he said the same thing. He was like, fuck it, I mean, like there's people who will outrun me in a marathon who are born with no limbs. And there's another thing that he says all the time, which I've talked about on this podcast once with Tom Cosm, which is a saying that he tweeted once, and I remember it all the time because it helps me a lot, which was that if you can't be grateful for what you've got, then you'll never be grateful for what you get.
Yeah.
And I think that's a great way to look at life.
Absolutely. man, like totally. It's like just practicing gratitude for what you have, because there was one point in time where you dreamed about what you have right now. It was a dream, and like now you've got it, and it's like, oh shit, you need to take a step back and just be like, oh fuck, I got what I want. You know, once upon a time I was dreaming about this, and now I have it. And it's
but
really
also your
important.
desires and goals change, right? It's like at the same time, it's like
you know,
like growing with. Sorry, go on.
It's all relative, and it's all like, oh well, what do you want out of life, and what is it? And it's like, you know, I try and think like, oh, keep it simple, and I don't want much. I'm like, as long as I've got my little pod, and as I was saying, can make tunes, I'm happy. I don't care about stuff. Like, it's not about the acquisition of stuff for me. So, you know, and that really riles certain people up, where it's like, no, why aren't you driven? Why don't you want more of that? And it's like, I don't give a fuck. You can't make me care.
Right. Well, yeah, I mean, speaking of your tunes, I listened to that Cloudfall EP that you sent through this morning.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, when you woke up, it was in my inbox, so I downloaded that, and it was the first thing I listened to today, and it's sick. I really like it.
Hey, thanks, man. No, I was literally just like, I want to make some liquid drum and bass, and they come in little batches, so I just kind of made them. So I'm going to chuck that one out on Friday, which will be like the Bandcamp Friday, yeah. So
nice.
The next one that's coming up.
Which date is that? That is
that's
second?
I think it's the 2nd, isn't it? Yeah, 2nd of October.
Cool.
So
well, this podcast comes out on Thursday, so for people who are listening to this, then tomorrow is the day that it'll come out for them.
Nice. If you like weird liquid drum and bass with odd chords, that's me.com. That's just one aspect, you know. But then, I'm just sort of trying to finish up like another SLUG WIFE EP and a million other things, and then doing all, you know, it's, I've done a lot of stuff. I've got like a secret website called alexmeliasound.com, where it's my little repository of all the things I've done, because I did like some video game work and advertising work and all of this stuff. And it's like, it's good to, you know, it's good practice to get out of your comfort zone. So like I did this video game work where it's like I literally had to learn how to use Wise. You're familiar with that program? Yeah, it's kind of like Fmod or whatever. Yeah, there's like Fmod and Wise and whatever, but like literally learning it as I was doing, like watching the tutorials and having to implement this stuff while I was working on this project. It's like, fuck me. It's like seat of your pants shit, but it's a good way to learn. It's the same, like I think Adam Neely was talking about it on an episode of this podcast, where it's like, you know, learning about, he uses making a video as an excuse to learn about the thing he's making the video about. It's like, that's a great philosophy in life, you know? Yeah. So learn as you do.
Yeah, I've been slacking on that side of things. I need to get back into YouTube more. And that was one of the things, he inspired me by saying that, because I was like, fuck, I should use my YouTube channel more as a reason to learn new shit. I've been reading a lot of books lately, though, so I have been learning a lot of new shit, but haven't been.
It's hard, man. You know, it's like, again, there's not enough hours in the day. There's only so much time you can dedicate. We're all just trying our best, and all just, it's you know.
Yeah, speaking of hours in the day, I should get back to my fucking stock take spreadsheet and keep going through it.
Oh, mate, you're far too organised for me. I'm literally like Mr. Chaos, where it's just sort of like, I'll do.
No, so am I, and this is I've been that way for far too long, and recently I've been like, I have all the time in the world right now because there's no shows, so I might as well do this thing that I always think about, because I always have this like lovely idea that everything will be like organized one day on my hard drive, and I'll like log onto my computer and everything will be where it should be. I can just make music very freely and not have to worry.
Fuck it.
I know. I mean, I've had that.
As long as it works. That's the thing. I keep looking. One day I will sort out my Gmail account as I look at it, and it's like 17,000 unread emails. Now it's a point of issue where I'm just like, how ridiculous can this go? You know.
Well, that's the thing. Is like, it does work. Like, I get music out. I get a lot of music written and finished and released, but it just works. Like, it barely works.
But you're doing good, you know, and you're making it work, and that's it. That's all you can ask for. So it's kind of, just be nice to yourself. I think everyone should do that.
I think I'm pretty patient with myself, but I also, this is another thought I have a lot, is when I am very patient with myself and I'm like, it's working, it's fine, is that to some degree I'm just accepting mediocrity, whereas I'm like, but if I did get organized, how much better could it do? You know?
I don't know. It's hard. I'm sure that again, mash this analogy, or there's a thing that's like, oh, there's a man. So there's a guy sitting on a beach, relaxing after having a day's fishing, and then like an entrepreneur comes next to him. He's like, oh, why are you just relaxing on the beach? Like, oh, if you fish some more, then and you could earn some more money, and then you could hire some more people to get more fish, and then you could kind of build your company up and then get loads of money, and then you could relax on the beach. And he's like, but I'm already relaxing on the beach. So
right.
what the fuck?
And he's like, but then you could relax on the beach every day. And then he's like, I could do that anyway.
Well, I'm doing that already. So, it's like, where does it end? Where's the end goal for all of this?
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good way to look at it.
I firmly believe that every politician should be made to go and spend a week on the ISS, the International Space Station, because there's like
hit with the realization.
I watched a really good. There's a short film on Vimeo called Overview, and like the
overview effect.
Yeah, amazing stuff. And I'm like, please, for the love of God, I want to go into space before we die, because I want to see that. Because it's like we are on like Mothership Earth, and it's not sort of pseudoscience hippie bullshit. It's a real psychological effect where it's like, oh, you actually see the Earth as one thing, and really just completely will change your perspective on everything. And it's like,
I need to look up. Okay, here we go. The overview effect is a cognitive shift in awareness reported by some astronauts during spaceflight, often while viewing the Earth from outer space. It is the experience of seeing firsthand the reality of Earth in space, which is immediately understood to be a tiny, fragile ball of life hanging in the void, shielded and nourished by a paper-thin atmosphere. From space, national boundaries vanish, the conflicts that divide people become less important, and the need to create a planetary society with the united will to protect this pale blue dot becomes both obvious and imperative. And then this is a quote from a guy called Michael Collins. He says, the thing that really surprised me was that the Earth, projected an air of fragility, and why, I don't know to this day. I had this feeling that it's tiny, it's shiny, it's beautiful, it's home, and it's fragile.
Yep, abso-fucking-lutely. I'm like, it's so important. And I think
it would be really cool to have politicians all experience this.
They should have to do that. Like, I think it should be mandatory.
Yeah, that would actually put quite a barrier to entry on becoming a politician. It'd be like, so to become a politician, you have to get in this tin can and we have to shoot you out of a cannon into the sky at hundreds of miles per hour, right? Do you still want to be president?
Or if we can, build a space elevator or something, or...
That would instantly delete people being over the age of basically 55 to become a politician. Like, I mean, can you imagine...
If you can, I can't see it being too far off.
Can you imagine those shooting somebody as frail as Joe Biden or Donald Trump into space? Like the G-forces alone would like crush their fucking.
But I didn't think they were the G-forces were too much when they were actually strapped into the rocket. It's not like I don't.
I mean, it's enough to make most people black out.
But then, I suppose they've got different like pressure suits and stuff, and it's sort of like where it kind of squeezes your legs and stuff to stop the blood pooling and all of this kind of stuff. But yeah, anyway.
All right, man. Well, fuck. Thanks for coming on. That was awesome conversation. It's been
an absolute pleasure. Sorry for my endless waffle and all of that.
No, you're
stuff.
good, man. That's exactly what we should be doing. Endless waffles.
It's like, as I say, I thoroughly enjoy this podcast and you're doing good stuff. I was sort of like, had similar ideas. I was like, oh, you've done it. I don't need to do it because you're doing it. Great. Brilliant. And I really like hearing everyone's kind of take on things. And, I've learned a lot from listening to everyone on this podcast.
I'd love to listen to a Reso podcast. I feel like you'd talk to a lot of like OG dubsteppers and stuff. And I think that'd be super interesting.
Maybe one day we'll get around to it. It's on the list.
Yeah.
It's on the to-do list. It's in the pile, but I'm fucking lazy. So one thing at a time. Well, absolute pleasure, my friend. Like, keep doing what you're doing. You fucking smashing it.
Will do. Cheers, man. Have a good one. Hey, thanks for listening to the Mr. Bill podcast. These episodes are edited and uploaded by Robert Fumo of 303podpro.com. You can also support the show, get early access to episodes, and hear bonus content by going to patreon.com/Mr. Bill's Tunes and becoming a patron. Please rate and review on iTunes unless you're going to be a little shit about it. And all the links to my various platforms are at mrbillstunes.com. Thank you.